Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers, if you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money, so we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Welcome back to the Comic Tech Files, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to the show Heroes over on NBC, as well as the upcoming revival show Heroes Reborn. I'm Lilith, and on the hunt for specials with me, as always, is
Ricky. You right?
Up for discussion today is episode 308, Villains. This is the brutal part of season 3. It just feels like everything just stops, slows down, and becomes miserable.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I watched these two and then Eclipse, and it took me like a couple of days. Like, I was just rewatching just like randomly. And then once it gets to like Fugitives, I was just like, okay, so it was, because it's on Netflix, it's just the instant continue. So I was like, oh, I'll just watch another one. Oh, I'll just watch another one. And it was so much better than this like block of episodes.
I don't even know what this was for.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what?
The thing about this next couple, like the next 4 blocks of episodes, so it's like Villains, It's Coming, and Eclipse Part 1 and 2, is that they have characters go through these changes, and then by the end of it, like sometimes even in one episode, it doesn't matter because they revert them straight back. And it's just what we've been talking about, how Heroes, like the first season of Heroes, like was a gradual shift into like changes of development and characters. And this one just seems like, oh, the ratings have gone down a bit more. We got to revert people back, and that's what it kind of feels like. Some of the choices that the writers make, are just, what the hell are you thinking?
I totally agree. Oh God, I'll be so glad to get out of Villains volume, because it didn't live up to its name at all.
Oh, definitely not.
So let's just go over to the recap. Just get started, get this out the way, so we can get to better stuff.
Yeah.
The original air date for this was, November 10th, 2008. Did we have like a little break between something?
Must have.
Anyway, this was written by Rob Fresco and directed by Alan HRG. So yeah, do you have the synopsis for us?
Yes. To prepare for an eventual showdown with his foes, Hero investigates defining moments in the past of Arthur Petrelli, Sylar, and Flint. He discovers that Meredith Gordon is Flint's older sister, and Arthur Petrelli ordered Linderman to kill Nathan, but ended up injuring his wife, Heidi, and that Arthur survived his supposedly fatal heart attack. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. No, this episode does not deserve a dun, dun, dun. Major players and plot points. Okay, Hero goes on a spirit walk. Elle forms a relationship with Sylar, a.k.a. Gabriel Gray, because he's feeling like he's the good guy, so he should just put on his glasses. And then we see the Petrelli family lives change, and we kind of see the beginning of Linderman's plan. Meredith and her brother, Flint, are separated by the company. And then in present day, in Usutu Sanctuary, some Pinehurst things happen.
I was listening to some of the previous episodes we've already recorded, and I remember, like, episode 4, I was talking about how it just felt so early to be doing, like, a future episode. And they usually save it for, like...
This episode?
They usually save it for episode 8. And they just went back into the past, and this was... It would seem like it was retconning a lot of stuff that's already happened, or stuff that we kind of knew. And it just seemed like they kind of changed it a little bit. And the only thing that I kind of liked about it was it felt very Back to the Future 2. Where you've got someone going back and just like seeing different points of views. Yeah, they could have done without the Peter wig, but you know he wasn't in it that much, so that's all.
Dude, settle in, because we see that damn thing a lot from here on out. and then Claire's wig also in the second half
Oh, yeah.
of this for no reason.
Yeah.
The story developments is metal mimicry, shattering, Danny Pine, Trevor Zilliton, and lentil soup. And I was like, for the life of me, couldn't remember, even though I've rewatched it. I was like, lentil soup, why is that important? So mental mimicry is the ability to transmute one's body into metal. The guy that we meet, Danny Pine, has that ability. He's the one that attacked Mr. Thompson.
And is it Zeitman has the shattering ability?
Yeah, he's on the list.
But it seems like the power a 5-year-old has. It's so weird.
Temper tantrum?
Yeah, no, just like the pa-choo, pa-choo. Like, I'm surprised he wasn't making the sound effects while he was using his air gun.
Oh, the lentil soup. That's the stuff Angela poisons Arthur with. And I'm just like, we could have done without that. Like, do we really need to know that for story development, Ricky? I don't think so.
I know.
Oh, I don't blame them. They're stretching it. They didn't want to rewatch the damn thing either. Let's get into the breakdown. How do you want to do this?
Oh, I don't even know. This episode depresses me.
You just want to start with Hero.
Yeah, oh no.
That's the crux of the episode.
Go on then.
But we have to, because I didn't even really realize that that was Hero's dream vision or whatever. What we were seeing, I thought these were just random flashbacks for this whole time until you just read that.
Yeah, it's his spirit walk because
that's stupid. Yeah. That's even stupider than what I was giving this episode credit for.
I know, and then some of the episodes that come up afterwards with the Sutu is just like, oh really? You're keeping him around. It's just really bad, but
just to say, oh man.
Yeah. I know, right? Oh, God. Anyway.
So, okay, we'll start from the present day, and it's Usutu who has tricked Hero into taking his little spirit walk, and it's with Hero that we get these flashbacks, as I said. Sigh.
Okay, so let's just start with Hero, I guess. Hero does his spirit walk, and then at the end of it, Arthur finds him and holds his head, and that's all we know. So we'll just leave it at that, because we'll talk about the rest of that ball ache of a storyline after in the next one. But yeah, basically he finds the way to kind of get towards Arthur, but at the end it's negated completely, as everything is in this episode. So yeah, we'll move on to... I don't even know what the point of seeing Arthur's background is, because everything we've known about him, we've already been told. He was a big shot lawyer type person. We know that already. We know that he kind of had this weird kind of delusions of grandeur, which he passed on to Nathan. The only thing that we learn is how he quote unquote died, and that was because of Angela. And I don't really know. That whole kind of storyline, whilst it kind of has the little Easter eggs potted in it, I'm sure Linderman mentions a pot pie at one point, which I thought was a nice little Easter egg. But I don't even know why Linderman turned against him. And I think it was just a power play to kind of get Arthur out the way and just have Angela to himself.
I think he had the hots for Angela. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Look, I love Angela. I think she's a great character. But it seems like she's made her way through most of the company founders, right? Because... Yeah. They've talked about Kato, we haven't had a sexual relationship in years. I'm sure there was something between her and Charles DeVoe, and now Linderman wants it.
No, I don't think there was anything sexual. I think because their powers were very similar that they commiserated together.
Fair enough.
And he's a black man and she's a lady, and they kind of grew up in that 50s, 60s era, so there is a lot of kind of common ground.
Okay.
Between the two of them, is the way that I saw it personally. Unless you want, we can't talk about that till season 4,
yeah,
though.
Exactly. And as much as I love Robert Forster, I think he's a great actor, he is, from now on, he's phoning his acting in. He's just delivering lines with pretty much no passion, and he's just going through the motions, and it hinders the storyline, because you want Arthur Petrelli to be this kind of big bad, but you can't, because of the way he acts. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I was kind of bummed out about his powers too. Everybody's a telepath in some way now. Okay.
Yeah. His powers seem to be really cool, but at the end of the day, once you've got the power to take someone else's powers, all you need to do is just see Peter, and then you don't have to take other people's powers. You can just absorb them all.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I just want to talk about survives it. And then he orders Dr. Livitz to use somebody else's body for the cremation. Just, what is this, Dallas Dynasty? No, That's all.
I totally understand. He just uses other people now. We'll get to the rest of like his development in the next episode, but yeah. The thing is with the episode, you kind of at least see kind of glimmers of humanity through like some of the characters. Like Sylar, you can see he's kind of feeling guilt about his first kill. Linderman feels bad about like Angela being manipulated by Arthur all the time, and even Elle has sympathy for Sylar in this episode. But you just see Arthur Petrelli just a straight up villain, but you just can't buy into it because of the acting decisions that Robert Forster makes. It seems like he feels like he's too good for the role. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I totally agree. Like, let's just move on.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's like some actors, they don't get their just due on this show, and then some of them, for no reason, get these extended storylines.
Yes, definitely. Let's just move on. We'll go on to another big part of the episode, Sylar, Elle, and HRG kind of storyline, which is a massive retcon because in the first and second season we see that it's like the Sureshes who kind of create, quote unquote, the Sylar kind of monster. And in this one they kind of take that and turn it on its head by making it be HRG and Elle are the ones who create him, because after his first kill he wanted to kill himself because he felt so much guilt about what he had done, and it was them who stopped him and them who made him carry on killing, and they're the ones who essentially made Sylar. And I don't know how I feel about that. It kind of feels like it's just desserts for Noah, because basically he created the person who terrorizes him for the rest of like the season.
Yeah, I hated that. I thought that was the dumbest thing ever.
You don't need to have...
Because they're trying to remove the Suresh's importance.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
And you don't need to have a reason for Sylar and HRG to hate each other, because they already hate each other because of what he did. And they never really play on the fact that Noah created Sylar anymore.
Just for this episode.
Yeah, it's to give them a reason for Elle to interact with Sylar in this episode, and something that can kind of be completed for the rest of the season. That's the only reason it seems that they did that, so yeah.
Where else do you want to go?
The only other thing we can kind of talk about is Meredith and Thompson and Flint, I guess.
I can't believe it's taken us this long to reveal that they're brother and sister.
Yeah.
The lamest secret ever.
Yeah. I like the fact that it's not HRG who was partnered up with Meredith, because that will kind of take away the impact of what's happened, like their kind of relationship. Do you know what I'm saying? I like that it's Thompson, the one who brings her into the fold. But then it just only makes me ask more questions, like how do they decide who is going to be company agent worthy? And, you know, it also brought up the fact that it seems like Claire's bio parents, both their younger siblings, are dum-dums, because you've got Peter on one side and you've got Flint on the other, and neither of them are like the smartest people in the show, so yeah.
That's funny. I never even thought about it like that. They explain so much about Claire, though. Her family line is just oof.
Yeah, and they never even bring up that Flint and Claire are related. It's just something that's not even talked about in passing, but yeah.
Yeah. And I feel weird about how both Meredith and Flint's powers are fire.
Yeah. And it gets even weird.
It
even gets weirder, like, in the kind of the graphic novel that's brought up with this, but we'll talk about that then. But yeah, that kind of, both of them have exactly the same fire is really weird, because when you look at the other kind of pairings, brother-sibling pairings, they've always got kind of vastly different powers. The only kind of other kind of link that you've got are only really Maury and Matt.
Well, we can't even talk about that yet.
Only more, and we might as well, because the Greys. That's all to say. But it seems more hereditary, like from the parent passing down, as opposed to both siblings having it. It's really weird.
Genetics is a funny beast, and we'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
Adrenal glands. Anyway. Where else do we want to go? Like, there's just, like, not really a lot to talk about that, like, makes me happy about this episode, because I really hate continuity errors and retcons, and that's what this episode was full of. And weak performances on top of that.
Oh, definitely. It's weird how they brought, like, people back for this episode and then just kind of wasted them. Like, Eric Roberts and Malcolm McDowell. They were still, like, the best things in this episode, but at the same time, like, they were just wasted in their roles. They were just there as background
players. Yeah.
To the main storyline, which is the Petrellis. I don't remember thinking that this season was actually that bad. Like, just thinking about, like, Heroes, when I knew it was coming back, I was like, well, I like the first season, I like the third season, I didn't mind the fourth season as much as other people didn't. And the second season, you know, I just blamed on the writer's strike. But
it's really funny because it seems like we liked more of season 2 than we have of season 3 so far.
And doing this like rewatch, it's like, well, I liked 1, but it wasn't as good as I remember. Season 2 was a bit better than I remember, and this part of season 3 is just getting me down to talk about it because I love this show and I love the ideas that were brought out, and it just seems like it's not exactly as I remember it, and that's hindsight for you. So yeah,
power of nostalgia.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we could just go straight to the review. Best character?
Oh, I don't even know.
I'm just going to go with a tie between Thompson and Linderman. I kind of like Linderman's quote-unquote change of heart about Angela, even though it was probably covered in a power play. Yeah. It was still nice to see somebody care about Angela, because God knows her family doesn't.
I'll probably just go with Linderman as well, because he was probably one of the best things about this episode. In season 1, when we meet him, he's just like this fully fleshed kind of evil character, and here they kind of have played him out to be kind of the underling, the henchman to Arthur. And I like the kind of storyline that they give of him making the power play and getting Arthur out the way so that he can be the one who's in charge of New York. You know, it's his plan and not someone else's. So yeah.
Yeah. Best character interactions for me, hands down, it's past Sylar and Elle.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to agree with that as well. I think they were building up to something which I wanted to see, but never panned out, as per usual with Heroes episodes. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Like, I didn't really like that relationship, but I thought that it was at the very least interesting, and it had a lot of potential and promises and possibilities, and then they just like decided to go, like, no warning, just decided to go into a completely different direction. When that happens, I was like, wait, what?
And I think
you keep Kristen Bell around, you bastards.
And I remember watching this and thinking, oh, this is who Noah's mum must be. Like, I remember thinking that because they had quite a good chemistry in the episode and the kind of following episodes. And I thought, oh, this could be the future that we're promised for Sylar. This could be Noah's mum. And that's where I thought it was going.
Well, we could do a whole podcast about things that could have been on Heroes. Do you know that? Do you realize that, Rick?
Well, we might as well. Because, you know, these past couple of episodes have been so short. We could just do, like, an extra long episode to bring up the extra time. Yeah, the extra time that we'd missed out on.
Fanfic theater.
I know, right?
Best scene.
I really liked the crisscrossing of Meredith and Claire. I really liked that scene, and I think it's made all the better because it's probably one of the first times in the episode that they play the Wendy and Lisa music, and that makes it that little bit better. But I like those kind of missed opportunities, and that's what Heroes Season 1 was all about. You know, you had like people like literally crossing over and not meeting each other, like Hero and Nikki and Nathan and Nikki as well. Like, they kind of just would like walk past each other and you'd be like, oh wait, you could, no, it's not going to happen. And it's
like Game of Thrones. You're like, dude, turn around, Sansa's right there, damn it, Brienne.
I don't watch the Thrones yet.
Sorry.
It's alright, I don't care about spoilers, but yeah.
What? Badger Ricky to watch Game of Thrones. I learned so much about you.
I know, it's one of those things, like, I was on cruise ships, I came back and it was like already 2 seasons in, and all my friends were like, oh, you'll love this show. And I just had so much to catch up on, like, coming back from ships. It took me like a year to do that, so it was into like season 3, and by that time everyone was like, oh, you've got to watch it. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to watch it because you're insisting that I watch it. So it's just one of those things. It's just my Flint numbskullness of not doing what I'm supposed to do. So yeah.
That's so funny. I think my favorite scene is, it's going to be a tough one.
Oh, definitely.
I think I like when Meredith realizes that they're just messing with Flint about being an agent. And she's like, you're just an idiot. She's so exasperated with her brother.
I know, right? It's kind of like she's got exactly the same thing as Nathan does in season 1. She's just so exasperated with her younger brother being this numbskull.
Like, Stimpy, you idiot! Just the look on her face is just the best. Let's see. I know I probably saved a line or two, hopefully. This was brutal, though. All right, get a room. Nathan to Angela. After 41 years of marriage, you take it where you can get it.
I have the feeling that Angela is a freaky deaky in the bedroom department, but yeah. My one is going to be when Nathan is talking to Linderman. Linderman says to him, I heard your office is about to launch a full-scale investigation in all things Linderman. Care to comment? Nathan comes back with, I'd shave my wrists. And then Linderman kind of gives him a look like, what the hell are you talking about? And then he goes, handcuffs chafe. And I'm like, oh, that's so bad, yet so good.
Oh my god. I was just like, he doesn't even have Uncle Arms. You say that to freaking ZQ. You don't say that to anybody else on the show. I also like how they explain about the bag and tag when it's Elle and Noah in the van or whatever. He's like, they don't sing in captivity.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, got a point. Best moment. Ugh.
I'm going to have to go again with the crossing over of Meredith and Claire. There's some things in that kind of storyline that I don't understand. Like, they make mention of an invisible man tackling him, which obviously isn't Claude Rains, because Claude had been on the run like 4 years before, or however many years before, right? Because that's what we learned in Company Man. So, yeah. But then also, why did Thompson let her go? Because he suddenly felt guilt about Claire? That just seems weird.
Seems unlikely.
Yes, but yeah.
I feel like the company is all about, setting bait and making traps and stuff like that. Like, to gain her trust, and he knew she would get in trouble and they'd find her again and he'd earn that goodwill, maybe.
Okay.
It's that Tony Soprano thing of thinking 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, that kind of long con kind of thing, yeah. What about your favourite
moment?
Yeah.
Favorite moment. Oh, when Linderman grabs Hero's head, because I thought he was just going to straight up kill him at that point. It would have been...
When Petrelli, Arthur, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, when Arthur grabs his head, I'm just like... No, actually, no. It's when Ando and Hero kind of like, after Hero comes out of his little daze and they see Usutu's head cut off, and I'm like, yes! No more annoying magical character trope.
Oh, little did you know.
I know, right? Like, literally became a magical. Yeah, let's just do the grade.
I am going to go with a D minus. This just didn't
I'll
do
give it a D+.
This just didn't do it for me.
I'll be nice and do the D+.
It's just like with these kind of episodes, you have to compare them to what's come before. So you've got the first kind of past, present episode in season 1, which had a big impact on what was going to happen for the rest of the season. You had the season 2 one. It answered the questions that happened between, the finale and the premiere. As little as we didn't really want to know kind of what happened, at least they answered those questions. This one just didn't really give us much. It just gave us background into things that we didn't really need background into. Like, they could have just kept it being the whole HRG kind of creating Sylar. As much as I hate that storyline, at least that gave us kind of Elle and Sylar as like a pairing and something that would impact kind of the rest of the next couple of episodes. So yeah, but that's the only thing that they really answer. Well, that and, how Arthur was, quote unquote, killed.
Yeah, I totally agree. That gave us answers to questions we give no jots about at all. And it was just kind of tedious and boring, and like, I just didn't care.
Definitely.
And like, they changed the title screen and it was supposed to be this big epic thing and it wasn't.
Yeah, like if it had been an episode about the actual villains, as in like Arthur and his quote unquote team, that would have been better, because we don't know anything about these characters. Like, we don't know anything about Nox. We don't really know that much about Tracy or Flint. So, they kind of gave us a bit of Flint, but, maybe it could have been villains in the case.
About Flint.
Yeah, but maybe it could have been a story of how all the villains ended up in level 5. And, as much as, we didn't really care about those characters, it would have been something different, and it would have given us a different part of the story, instead of revisiting old things and kind of retconning them because you didn't like where they originally went, I guess. I don't know. You can kind of tell that at this point they're just, as you've said, they're throwing things against the wall and just seeing what sticks, and this did not stick at all, because I completely forgot about how bad this episode was. So yeah.
Spaghetti for the dogs, because it's on the floor. So, let's talk about trivia. Like, there's literally all this rambling trivia, but at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I mean, even the scene that they cut with Matt and Knox, like, I don't care.
Yeah. That ended up becoming one of the web series. It was Hard Knocks. It was shown on NBC.com, and it was also included in the DVD of season 3. So we'll probably talk about that sooner or later, but we will probably talk about it with as much disdain as we've talked about this episode.
I just, Knox has the dumbest power, and it's like, oh hey, we need a black person because we killed DL off.
And
that's what it felt like.
And you know what else? We need everyone to be scared of him.
Angry black man, watch out.
I know, right?
I think that's probably what really rubs me the wrong way about Knox at the end of the day. Like, at least DL was a quote-unquote good guy, even though he was an ex-con.
Yeah, he was the ex-con with a heart of gold.
And Nikki was a hooker with a heart of gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor Micah. No wonder he goes on to become a terrorist. All right, let's get into issue 111.
Oh, all the ones. This is cool.
111 of these things.
I know, right? And how many episodes are we in? Like, we're about 40-ish episodes in, so yeah, there's more graphic novels than there are.
Oh yeah, by double, triple, or
exactly.
Something like that.
This one is called Playing with Fire, and it's basically another background into Meredith. We see Meredith has always been looking after her brother because, obviously, being heroes, they have father issues. She has father issues because her father is abusive. That's when her powers manifest, and she burns down the house, and they kind of become separated. Flint sees what she can do and wants to do it himself. Once she finally becomes 18 and can finally search out her brother, she searches for him, and he is able to do fire as well, but his is more intense, hence why it's blue. And they just meet each other again finally and kind of go on the run, I guess. I don't know.
It's very Carrie-esque.
Yeah, I don't really like the fact that Flint really wanted to have powers like his sister and ended up having them. It kind of felt a bit wishy-washy to me.
I think they were playing with that because when we get into the serum and stuff at Pinehurst, they talk about how they can give white people certain powers that they need them to have.
Yeah.
It makes sense now that I think about it. If you go with, like, the adrenal glands and, like, is it fight or flight and, like, what power, like, when you trigger that thing, like, what is going through your mind at the time, maybe?
I guess. Maybe.
#fanwaiting. Well, this was written by Zach Crayley, a.k.a. the guy who wrote the Dark Matter web series for Heroes Reborn webisodes.
Which is so good!
So good. The art was by Michael Goodell, and the behind-the-scenes Easter egg was an image of Uncle Arms himself,
yes.
Zachary Quinto.
The only trivia I have is some have speculated that the sailor staring at Meredith at the end of the novel is Nathan Petrelli. According to Petrelli.com, Nathan served as a pilot in the US Navy. Him and Meredith are Claire's biological parents, so they would have logically met around about 1989. However, there's no conclusive proof that is who Nathan or the sailor is, so yeah.
Got any listener feedback?
Do have a new milestone in Primatech Files is we have our 900 follower who is in_A_days_311. They haven't left their name, but on their Twitter they are called Smoke Dragon. So welcome to our Heroes universe. Yay. Also, literally while we were recording this, we got a tweet from the Heroes universe, and they just wanted to send us a shout out. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thank you, Heroes universe.
And you know what?
Hey.
That's verified, so I like that.
And shout out to everybody who wants to keep up with the ebooks and the game news. Definitely head over to heroesuniverse.com. Right? Isn't that the one?
Yes, definitely.
Where you can sign up for the emails so they keep you up to date with all that stuff.
The Heroes universe is where they talk about all the kind of multi-platform kind of stories. So yeah, it's a good place. Yeah. And they have trivia every week. So yeah, Tuesday trivia.
So sign up for those emails.
Yes,
definitely.
The following people live tweeted with the quote-unquote best episode ever. Sorry, snarkasm. 308 villains. The following people either tweeted, retweeted, or faved during the live tweet. We have Cinzia667, English Idiot 101, Demetrian Mills 3, Soft_Guitar 60, Mike Schmidt 09, and Paraceline. So yes.
Like it's time for some shameless plugs and self-promotion. We'll start with the show contact info. We here at Primatech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have a ton of ways. You can email us via primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/primatechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Primatech Files. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube by simply searching for Primatech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? You don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We're on a lot of podcatcher services such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Primatech Files. We're also on Libsyn, and if you want to follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primatechfiles.libsyn.com and bookmark the site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80-plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that can interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDS. That's RICKYJDIAZ, or Z if you're American.
That's all we have for this installment of Primatech Files. Sorry we didn't have much to say about this episode, but it gets better after these next couple of episodes. I suspect we'll be more enthusiastic and vigorous in the reviewing part of this podcast. So yeah, until then, remember to keep sending us those emails. Don't be afraid to leave us some comment on our Facebook posts. Engagement is key, my friend. And if you have time, join in on the weekly live tweets, which we do every Saturday, 2 of them, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow us on Primatech Files for more details. Ricky, you know what to do.
Download the podcast, save the world.